Hello, everyone, and welcome to Accountability August. Tell Congress what the Megabill means at home, hosted by the Progressive Caucus Action Fund. We are so happy that you could join us. My name is Catherine Rowland, she, her, and I will be moderating today's conversation. As we get started, please go ahead and introduce yourselves in the chat or the comments section. We would love to hear your name, pronouns, any affiliation you have, and where you are joining us from. We are here today because kids aren't the only ones who get a summer break. Congress does too. Senators and representatives are about to wrap up their work in Washington and head home to their districts, your districts, for the August recess. We want to make sure that everyone here knows how to make the most of this time between now and Labor Day, because it is a huge opportunity to let your elected representatives know how they can better represent you. This August recess is coming on the heels of a Republican mega law that will take away 17 million people's health insurance, take away 2.9 million people's food assistance, make health insurance premiums more expensive, make energy bills more expensive, make student loans more expensive, and all to funnel tax giveaways to the ultra wealthy and to corporations, and to give the Pentagon and ICE a huge slush fund to turbocharge their raids and detentions. Every Republican in Congress voted for that, with the exception of just 3 in the Senate and 2 in the House. August is the time to let your members of Congress know what it will mean for you and for your loved ones to lose Medicaid coverage, or for your local hospital to close, or for the students at your school to lose their school meals. Now, I know those conversations might be new to folks. Maybe you haven't shown up at an event with your member of Congress before and you don't know what to do. Maybe you're not exactly sure what the Republican mega law is and what it's going to mean where you live. Today, we're going to answer those questions and more. And before we get started, a few brief housekeeping notes. First, we are going to dig deep into policy discussions today, but we will not engage in electoral conversations. Second, for those tuning in via Zoom, we've enabled automatic closed captioning. To turn them on, go to the meetings control toolbar at the bottom of your screen and click captions and then show captions. As it is AI, it is often imperfect, and so we will be adding improved captions before we send a video of the event to you. Third, we encourage you to ask questions of our incredible panel throughout the event. You can drop your questions in the Q&A box or comment section, and we will get to as many as we can before we wrap up. And with that, let's get started. We're going to kick off today with a message from a very special guest, Congressman Greg Casar of Texas's 35th District, which runs down I-35 from East Austin to Hays County to the west side of San Antonio. Congressman Casar was sworn into office in January 2023 and serves as chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. It's my pleasure now to turn it over to Congressman Casar.
Hey y'all, it's Congressman Greg Casar. I'm proud to chair the Congressional Progressive Caucus, and I'm so grateful to the Progressive Caucus Action Fund for bringing everyone together. In this moment where Donald Trump has rammed through horrific legislation to kick millions of Americans off their health care, all to give the richest people in the country a tax break, this is not the time to give up. This is the time to take action, and it's time for accountability. That's why we've kicked off Accountability Summer, where we are going and talking to voters about how they're being betrayed by Donald Trump every single day. Because remember, Donald Trump's actions are not benefiting hardly anyone in this country. In fact, he's really only helping his billionaire buddies. And that's at the expense of everybody else. It's our time to go talk to everyone else. That's why over 50 members of the Progressive Caucus are a part of Accountability Summer, talking to people not just in their districts, but in Republican-held districts all across the country. I've gone to over half a dozen of these Republican districts to hold town halls and meetings and rallies, and we need everybody on board doing this work. Because even though we may have our differences of opinion on this issue or that one, every single one of us benefits from organizing against the oligarchy. The only way we can stop this oligarchy is by firing up the engines of our grassroots democracy, talking to our friends and neighbors, uniting around these core economic issues, because our taxpayer dollars, we don't pay those in to make some oligarch rich. Our labor, we don't put that in to make Donald Trump or some of his buddies even more rich. We can stand up for working class people, regain our mantle as the party of the working class, and go talk to every single one of our neighbors this summer. It is so, so very critical for the future of our entire country, and I'm grateful for the work you're about to do.
Thank you so much to Congressman Casar for that message. Now I am very excited to get to our panel discussion. We're lucky to have with us Sulma Arias, the Executive Director of People's Action, Alex Lawson, the Executive Director of Social Security Works, Trisha Maharaj, the Associate Director of Policy at Indivisible, Rachel Phipps of Action North Carolina, and Jen Flynn Walker, the co-chief of campaigns and the Fight Back team at Popular Democracy in Action. Thank you all for joining us today. Now, all of you represent organizations that harness people power. You help folks in communities across this country who may or may not consider themselves activists, but want to make their voices heard in the halls of Congress, and you give them the tools to do that across issues. What issues are you hearing about most from your members and your neighbors right now? And let's start with Sulma.
Thank you so much, Catherine. It's so good to be here. I am blessed to work with incredible, courageous leaders across 30 states who really inspire me every day. But people are also scared and angry, and they're ready to fight back, and they have been fighting. But many of our members will be hit directly from several of these cuts, some at once and some over time. On top of losing their health care from this bill, leaders in our communities and across our network may lose Section 8 vouchers due to DOGE and appropriation cuts. They may not be able to pay rent at the same time that the electric bills are going up due to the administration policies. And DOGE has ended the low-income home energy assistance program that would help low-income people cover energy bills. And many people are scared about having their neighbors, family members, even themselves disappeared. All of us, who look like me, even though I'm a naturalized citizen, because this bill gives massive new funding to ICE and other parts of the government involved in Trump's abduction machine as part of their agenda. So people know that they are doing this at a time when they're taking away our healthcare, our food, good jobs, while they're at the same time giving corporations and the greediest people in the country more tax breaks. So our members include people of every race, gender, and a kind community from all across the country. We believe that this should be a country where we take care of each other and where leaders protect our freedoms. We believe that we deserve better than this, and we are working every day to build a country and the communities that we all need and deserve. But that's how our communities are feeling, and that's how they're impacted. They're fighting, but there's a lot of anger, and some people are scared about what's coming.
Thank you so much, Sulma. I'll open it up to the rest of you. Can you tell us what you're hearing from the folks you represent and from your friends and neighbors right now?
Yeah, I think I can jump in. This is Alex Lawson with Social Security Works. We represent folks, primarily seniors, people with disabilities, but also people with family and loved ones who are seniors or people with disabilities. And we're talking just in Social Security, over 70 million people. With Medicaid, you're talking 70 million people. Like, you're talking enormous amounts of people who have been attacked by this administration. The attacks on Social Security are unprecedented. For 90 years, this is the 90th anniversary of Social Security. For 90 years, through war and peace, through boom and bust, through health and pandemic, Social Security has never missed a single payment until now. Right after Donald Trump put a billionaire, Elon Musk, in there, who took a chainsaw through the agency. And now you have offices that are closed. Try calling the phone. You'll get AI. This is the future that the billionaires want. You'll get a broken AI robot that's lying to you about the effects of the big ugly bill that they just passed. Social Security is in danger right now, and people are terrified about that. This is the first time that in many people's lives that they are really terrified that their next check might not arrive on time or in full. And the thing is, they should be. They should be. What they've done to the agency means that people should be afraid and prepared for that. And like that's the key thing, is that this knowledge is actually allows people to also protect themselves from some of the effects that this administration is perpetrating on them. But unfortunately, the other thing that we hear enormous amounts about is, the big ugly bill cut $1 trillion out of healthcare. $1 trillion in the history of this country. We've never seen anything like it. It will destroy the current health system. Something new and worse will be what we're left with. And when hospitals are closing and nursing homes are closing across this country, it is very difficult for people to personally protect themselves from those losses. And that's where they have to use the power of their voice, take their voice in to elected officials, and demand that the government actually reverse all of these crazy cuts, these assaults on the American people, and in fact put in more and work for the people and not the billionaire donors. But generally, there's a lot of fear, but it is also very filled with rage at an administration who would do this, who would steal healthcare from 15 million people to give tax handouts, trillions in tax handouts to a handful of billionaires. So I feel like the energy out there for holding this government, these Republicans, accountable is off the charts. And we just need to continue to help people direct that into the right venues to affect change.
Thank you so much, Alex. Rachel, Trisha, can you weigh in here as well?
Yes. Well, basically in my area, it's basically heartbreaking what I'm hearing. First of all, I work with children. I work also as a substitute teacher and work with the community. Many people are afraid of how they are going to pay for their health care. With the new work requirements involved, many people have either chronic illnesses or they have children with disabilities in the school systems that Medicaid does pay for. With the cuts coming, a lot of people are going to lose coverage. I, for one, have two autoimmune diseases. I have lupus and MS. Those illnesses are very unpredictable. They sometimes I can feel well for 2, 3 months at a time, and then all of a sudden I'm hospitalized. And with the work requirements involved, that if I'm hospitalized, I can't go through the actual work requirements. And that being said, I will lose coverage at times that I need it the most. And I think that is going to be the issue with a lot of people, especially in my state of North Carolina, as well.
Thanks so much, Rachel.
And then I guess I'll jump in to say that one of the things that we're hearing a lot about over and over again from our members is about militarized ICE enforcement with these officers who are often wearing masks and don't have any other identifying information that are really just terrorizing immigrant communities. We've had members who've been targeted by ICE themselves, have had their family members caught up in ICE raids, and just countless others who are scared for their friends, their neighbors, other people in their communities. And they're worried about the illegal and unsafe detention centers that might be operating in their communities or springing up in their communities now. The arrests of their elected representatives who are protesting ICE activity. And there's a lot of fear that ICE is going to continue to just escalate and become increasingly lawless and violent. But a thing that I'm hearing that from our members that was validated by all of my colleagues is just that there's an overwhelming amount of things for our members to focus on right now, right? Like Republicans in Congress and Trump, they're just really flooding the zone with a laundry list of awful things that make it really hard for anyone to keep track of it all and to fight back against it all. And so I think it's just important for us to like keep our eye on the ball here and not just let the overwhelm of awful stop us from taking action and paralyze us.
Thanks, Trisha. Thank you all. I want to talk a little bit more about the Republican mega bill, now Republican mega law, that became law earlier this month. What are the folks you all represent saying about that legislation? And what should our audience know? What are the big takeaways they should leave with if maybe they haven't been following it and they're not super familiar with the law? Alex, you talked about this a little bit, so let's start with you.
It's such a difficult one to go over because it's just so bad that basically, however bad you think it is, it's 1,000 to 10,000 times worse than that. And I'll just paint a little bit of a picture. But the thing I want people to pull out of this is that it's never happened before, ever. Because sometimes you hear this thing like, oh, well, you're always saying these bad things are going to happen and the Republicans are trying to do this and oh, that's going to lead to, all these bad things. And you're like, yeah, because they always have been trying and we always stopped them. We stopped them from doing it. Remember John McCain's thumbs down. That was after months of intense pressure from the people. And still it was that one thumbs down that stopped it in Trump 1.0. Well, the Republicans got it through this time. So all of this is absolutely unprecedented. Never before has the government stolen healthcare from 15 million people. There's no such thing as work requirements. That's just a Republican term that they use. The goal is to take healthcare away. So it's not a mistake. They know that if someone is in the hospital, that the bureaucratic red tape that they put up is going to snarl them and steal their health care. They have corporations that design their policies to do exactly that. The goal is to steal health care. $1 trillion in healthcare. Hundreds of hospitals across this country will close. Hundreds, if not thousands, of nursing homes across this country will close. 1 in 2 people in a skilled nursing facility, often called nursing homes, are paid for by Medicaid. So in both those situations, there's people who are like, oh, well, I don't think my hospital will close. I heard that was mainly happening in rural and urban communities, and I don't live in either of those. Or I don't think my nursing home is going to close, or the person who I care for doesn't get Medicaid. It doesn't matter. Guess where all the people who were going to those hospitals are now going? Your hospital, which didn't close. Your nursing home, if 1 in 2 people are paid by Medicaid, the quality of care for everyone's going to plummet because people will lose their job. There's no more money. So there's nowhere in this country that you can hide from the devastation in the health systems that this big ugly bill has wrought. And so it's going to lower the standard of living for every single person in this country except for the billionaires. If you don't have your own helicopter, you are going to be hurt by this bill. And it's going to take the form of diminished quality of healthcare, if you have access to that at all. There's so many other pieces, but just to get the cruelty, they're literally stealing food from the mouths of hungry. They took food assistance and they ripped it out of the hands of hungry Americans in order to give tax cuts to billionaires. So those effects are just going to be a disaster. And I want to also say one of the biggest misconceptions is that that stuff happens in the future. That's not true. It happens right now. The bill starts now. Hospitals are closing now. Nursing facilities are closing now. Premiums are going to skyrocket right now. It is going to hit people like a 2x4. And it's something that has never occurred before in the history of this country.
Thank you so much, Alex. Jen, do you want to weigh in as well?
Yeah, there's not much more to add to what Alex says, but as you heard from Rachel, our members are learning more and more about the bill every day and what's in it. A lot of them will say things like, well, it's pretty good that there was no tax on tipped wages, for tip workers. And then we say, that is temporary. And they did a whole lot of things like make it a hell of a lot harder for you to be able to file your taxes. You probably should, if you don't want to have the IRS coming after you, actually go to a certified CPA. Now, how many restaurant servers do you know that have a financial planner and their accountant on speed dial? Like, not that many. And so now they're just not going to probably file their taxes and, get fined and not have any impact anyway from that. So that is something that we like to remind people, but they're seeing, just like Alex said, every single day there's hospitals that are closing. There are hearings that they're hearing about at the state legislators are moving for emergency meetings to further gut funding. We've been organizing people on Medicaid and people who rely on the Affordable Care Act for years now, and they're really facing the reality that they are in danger of losing all of their healthcare access. And it is not hyperbolic to say that if they lose their healthcare coverage, they will die. They are the folks who are in skilled nursing facilities. They are folks who rely on 24-hour nursing assistance. They cannot work. In fact, many times they're on Medicaid and they're working and they need a lot of assistance in their homes in order to just perform daily functions. They're already working. Their communities are going to actually look different. We did some message testing at Popular Democracy where we, talk to people about the fact it is wildly unpopular. Turns out that's wildly unpopular to gut Medicaid in order to fund the paramilitary entity that they call DHS. And when people hear that there's going to be fully armored, masked individuals walking down your street in mass, in some cities, they're proposing literally buying tanks, to roll down your street just to have further intimidation. When you propose that to people, it's wildly unpopular. And make no mistake, our folks are terrified. They really feel like they're going to lose their lives. But you know what that does? That means that they're deeply, deeply empowered to go into battle, to fight against these ACA subsidies, to fight against this next rescission package that they're talking about, where they're going to steal back the money that Congress already gave to life-saving programs again. And they've got nothing to lose at this point. So they're going to make sure that there's no further cuts in this appropriations bill. They know that these fights that seem confusing because they're about different budgets and reconciliation and rescission and appropriations, they are all about starving us so that we can't fight. And people are now waking up to that. And they're going to remember, I know we're not talking about elections, but they're going to remember in November and beyond. And they're going to show up everywhere where their electeds are and make it clear that they know what's in the bill and they know what's at stake, and they're not going to stop pressuring them until they win back that money.
Yeah, there's just like everything that everyone said, right? There's so much in this bill that's just enabling the Trump administration to carry out and ramp up their extreme agenda. So, like we've said, they're leaving people without health care and without food on their tables. They're defunding Planned Parenthood to restrict access to abortion care, even in states where abortion is legal. They're supercharging ICE to increase funding to go after immigrants, hire those mass agents, build more detention centers, like what they're doing in Florida. But I think the thing that our members are really talking about is that the passage of this bill has just made it abundantly clear who Republicans in Congress, like where their allegiance lies, and it's with Trump. And they'll fall all over themselves to deliver on his demands, even when it hurts their constituents and even when they might face accountability from those constituents. And so we're really thinking about like, while we need to keep pushing Congress to keep Trump in check, we also need to start thinking more broadly about other avenues for challenging Trump's power and agenda.
Thank you so much, Trisha. Sulma, do you want to weigh in on this as well?
Yeah, and I'm just going to build on what my colleagues have said because I say this a lot and I keep thinking about the horrendous, taking food away from children. It just in a country that has so much, um, where our budgets are supposed to be like a reflection of our values and our moral conscience. This doesn't make any sense to any of us, and not only to take it away from people who need the services and should have them, have every right to have them. I want my taxes that I pay to go to that, and that is what and it's so not only infuriating to me, but I feel it in my entire body because it is wrong. It is so wrong that while we do that, while we close hospitals, while my own grandchildren are going to lose Medicaid in the state of Kansas, at the same time, we're giving billionaires more money that they don't need. And we are tripling billions of dollars into this mass kidnapping machine that is terrorizing. I lived in El Salvador through people coming to your doors and knocking down doors. That's going to happen here. And so I feel it in my body, and it's wrong. People with masks coming to get people that you love at night, and they're blaming immigrants instead of blaming the billionaires who are benefiting from all of this. This is wrong in the country that we are part of. This is wrong. And we have, if we come together, the opportunity and the power to still stop all of this and to come back and bring back the democracy that we truly need, because we don't need more of innocent people. Innocent immigrants like me who came to live in this country are not the cause. We got to put the focus back on the billionaires who are benefiting from people starving, from people being terrorized, for immigrants being terrorized in their homes. And at the end of the day, it just means it takes away all of our freedoms. And none of our people are safe from this authoritarian crackdown. And it means that now more than ever, we have to organize, we have to stick together, and we can, if we come together, identify the real enemy. The real enemy is not each other, it's not people who look like me, it's the billionaires who are benefiting every day from these atrocities and these injustices.
Thank you, Selma. That's actually a really good transition to what I want to talk about next. There might be folks on the call right now who have never done any type of advocacy before, but are fired up about the issues that you all just talked about and want to get involved. They're just not sure if it's worth their time or how they do it. And so I'm going to open this one up to all of you as well. But Rachel, I thought I would start with you. What would you say to those folks who are totally new to advocacy or activism?
Oops. I'm sorry about that. Thank you for that question. I think that's a really important question. I think a lot of people are sitting home, stressed out and worried, but they have to remember that most people that are advocates never thought of themselves as an advocate. They're parents, caregivers, at-home moms, seniors, and the like, just regular everyday people. You don't need a degree in policy. You don't need to have any type of background in organizing. You just start where you are. You start with calling your local representatives, your state and local representatives. You send emails. You share your story with neighbors and friends and give out the correct information about what this bill is going to do. Well, now law is going to do to everyone. People just need to understand that everybody doesn't have to talk on a screen or hold up a sign, but there's something that you can do, even if it's just making sure you vote, making sure you get others to vote, making sure people are voting for their interests. All of that is advocacy, and everybody needs to know that their voice matters. One person plus one plus one plus one. Collective action makes a big difference, and it gets people to move.
Thank you so much. Anybody else want to weigh in?
I think the only thing I want to say, this is not the time to be isolated. We have strength and we give each other energy and in kindness and in love when we're together. This is not the time to be alone. And the more that we are in community, the stronger that we feel. We learn from each other. We get it. We inspire each other. This is not time to be alone. Do what you can, but don't isolate yourself because they do whatever they can to divide us. And that is the first fight we have. Let's do this together.
Yeah, I jump in on that point from Sulma and just say what that looks like is getting organized, and one voice can be ignored. One voice is still incredibly powerful, but those in power can ignore you if you're alone. That's why they want you to be alone. But if you get organized, which just means standing with your neighbors, with those in your community, and raising your voices together, then the people in power have a harder time ignoring you. And when there's enough of us raising our voices together, not only can they not ignore us, but we will always win. So when we fight together, we win, which is why they spend so much time splitting us apart. And also, it is the strategy behind the tactic of flooding the zone. If they do so much, then people are pulled in all these directions. What we have to understand is that it is one fight that we're all in together against one opposition, who are the billionaires. This is all about the billionaires stealing our lives, our money, everything we hold dear, and just sucking it out and depositing it in their offshore bank accounts so that they can buy another golden yacht or helicopter or whatever it is that they do with their money. But they might have money, but we still have people. Every time there's a vanishingly small number of billionaires versus everybody else. So what we have to do is ensure that people have the facts. And that is in your church group, in your book group, in with your neighbors, with people you work with. You have power in being a truth teller. When the lies about, oh, I think that the Republicans are doing this for working people, I think I heard something about tips or something like that. No, this is about billionaires getting trillions in tax handouts. If you don't have a helicopter, you're getting hurt. You're not getting a benefit. It means getting involved with the organizations that are doing the work, that are actually organizing on the ground, and you can find people who work on the issues that you care about, and plug in with them. You can go socialsecurityworks.org. We have people all across the country who care about senior issues, healthcare, disability rights, and we want to work with as many people as possible. And then the organizations also, the message to organizations that you might be part of is that we all need to work together, because they will win when they divide us either into acting alone as people, or for everybody to be protecting or just focused on their piece. So this is a concept called solidarity that I'm sure everyone's familiar with. But solidarity is standing with each other and raising our voices together. And the only positive of adversity that we're going through is that it does grow solidarity. We've seen that time and time again. When people are faced with a government that is assaulting them every day, stealing their money, their health, putting their lives at risk, more and more people stand up and say no. And we've seen this, we know this, it's fact. The way to defeat fascism, autocracy, a despot, a wannabe dictator like Donald Trump is for millions of everyday people to just stand together and say no. That's what advocacy is, using the power of your voice to shape the reality that you want to see.
And then just to kind of, I think, build off of what Alex said more, right? We're really in this period of authoritarian breakthrough. The Trump administration is just rapidly grabbing and consolidating power, and Republicans in Congress are just bending over backwards to enable him. And they're really trying to break our democratic institutions, and we need to act now because it's harder to reclaim our democracy once there's already been that backsliding. And experts on anti-authoritarian movements tell us that it takes like 3.5% of the population to successfully oppose an authoritarian regime. So that means the mass protest, that means solidarity, and it means sustained action. So we need everyone who is fired up about any of the attacks from the Trump administration, from anything Republicans in Congress are doing, from anything that's in that big mega bill, to get involved and take action. But not just that, but to bring other people in their communities along with them into the fight, to grow the movement and increase that backlash against the administration. And there just is no time to lose. The stakes really just could not be higher. And I just want to emphasize that there is a place in that movement for everyone. We all belong to institutions and organizations that can either like uphold or erode the administration's power. So your labor union, your professional association, your faith community, civic organizations, all of these different things. There's so many others. Those are the pillars that support a leader staying in power. And we need all of those pillars to be defecting and challenging the Trump and the Republicans as much as possible. And you are going to be uniquely qualified to push on some of those institutions and organizations because you're already a part of them. And so now is the time to get involved.
Well said. Thank you so much, everybody. We mentioned earlier that we're having this conversation ahead of the August recess when members of Congress are going to be back in their home districts until Labor Day. In fact, the House of Representatives is heading home today. So we'll open this up again to any of you, but Trisha, want to have you kick us off. Can you tell us what makes August an especially good time to make your voice heard? What kinds of opportunities does it present?
Sure. Well, I'll start with just generally August, like the rest of the summer, is just naturally a season where we're like spending time in community with our friends, our families, with other people. We're outside a lot, and that creates a lot of organic opportunities to organize and take action together and then plug into opportunities. But it's also this great time to demonstrate to Trump and Republicans that we're just not going to accept these attacks on our democracy, our healthcare, on immigrant communities, because there are so many organizations like the ones on this call and activists who are already planning to take actions to hold Republicans accountable during August recess. So when everybody else adds in, it just like adds fuel to the fire and intensifies that backlash. So all of those actions are concentrated in just a few weeks. It lets us flex how strong our opposition is. It lets us show off those numbers, and it really forces Republicans to take notice because it's happening in such a like finite amount of time.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just to build on what Trish said, Catherine, I think that when our congressional representatives are in Washington, D.C., sometimes they get insulated by all and they're hard to get a hold of. It's hard to travel there, but when they come home, it's an opportunity for us to, they come home with, we should be talking to them. It's our right. We should be asking to talk to them. One thing that I've been hearing a lot from people on the ground is the fact that they're no longer, even when they come home, they're either not having town halls or not having meetings. They are intentionally, and that's my case in especially in a lot of red states. And I'm really enjoying having creative conversations with leaders on the ground who are thinking, okay, so we can't get to a representative. What can we do? And how do we begin to map out the people that they talk to, the people that influence them? That has been very inspiring. So there are ways, if you can't get directly to them at home because they're either not meeting with you, or also being insulated at home, or staying in the bubble. I think that there are ways that you can actually get close to them by looking at their centers of influence. So this is a time to hold them accountable. We got to do it at home, and we got to do it when they're in DC. But there's a lot of exciting opportunities and creative opportunities when they come home.
I'll just add to that. Popular Democracy does this training that we started doing in the first Trump administration called the bird dog training. We'll teach you how to engage in the act of bird dogging, which, as Sulma said, is our right. It's the cornerstone of democracy. Like you, the person who lives in the country, get to go ask your representative, the person who was elected to represent your interests, a question and have them answer it. Like that's what it is. And we will be wherever anybody who voted for this bill is going to be. So we're going to have our members bird dogging when they fly into an airport or out of an airport. We'll be there. If they dare to have a town hall, which many of them won't, most of them, maybe all of them won't, we'll be there. If they cut the ribbon on the new marina for the yacht or the new airport wing for the helicopters that now all of their billionaire friends will have more of, we will be there. If they go to their vacation house and even if we can't get onto the private beach, we'll be just in the water line out there with our banners telling our stories of how they stole our health care. They're trying to steal our education. They're taking away our housing. We are going to make sure that all of their rich and fancy friends know that they are bad people, actually, literally bad and immoral people. We're going to do vigils in front of their offices or in front of their houses. We're going to set up regular meetings in their offices and go and talk to them. We'll be at every clam bake, every state fair. And then if nothing else, we'll just sit in front of their offices and make sure that at least the community around them knows what they did. And we're not just going to do it only in August. It will be every recess, and it will be, throughout the next couple of months, so that as people start to pay more for their Affordable Care Act subsidies, or as they start to see their hospitals close, they know who is responsible.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Everything everyone has said is exactly right about why August is important. It's literally when the politicians leave DC, they go home. Sort of historically, it's to talk to the people. Then Republicans started only representing billionaires, so then they were like, maybe we shouldn't talk to the people as much. But they still have to. There are venues that they will go to because they still need to win votes. So, as Jennifer said, there's always venues that Republicans are going to be at where they're going to be trying to lie and tell people that what they did was help them. And we have to be there every opportunity to tell exactly what they really did, which was hurt people to help the billionaires. So August is not the only time, but it is a perfect time because they come home for the entire month. It's very programmed out by their offices. So the whole time that they're home, they are generally working, and that gives us the opportunity. A lot of that work is actually fancy dinners or, events, ribbon cuttings, things like that. Those are all places where we can make our voices heard. If you have a phone, that you can record from, then you have everything you need to catch a Republican in a situation that creates, terrible press for them and exposes them to their constituents, the people who hold their elected future in their hands. I spoke with Representative Miller Meeks from Iowa's 1st Congressional District. She won by less than 800 votes. This is not electoral. This is just about what she did. I put a camera in her face and asked her to defend the cuts on Medicaid, that it's going to close a critical hospital in her district. She tried to ignore me. I just kept walking, calmly asking her. She got to the elevator. This is here in DC, but you have the opportunity at home. And then she just kept pushing the button on the elevator, and it was sort of frantic, and it told the whole story. The whole story was told of how scared she was to be asked to defend what she did because it's indefensible. So what Jennifer talked about, bird dogging training, like please do that and learn. But the one thing I would add is just the reaction is the action. What you're looking for with these bird dogging is the reaction from the elected. So make sure that that's what you're focused on getting. And also, if you can't get to the elected themselves, something that we've found great traction with more recently because they're hiding from us is go to the targets, go to what will be destroyed, go to the hospital that will be closed and speak in front of that. Get the press to come to the hospital and say, this hospital is going to close. Go to the Social Security offices that are getting devastated and point to them. This Social Security office could close if we don't fight back. Those are another way. If your Republican is so scared of you that they're hiding out, you can also go to the targets of their attacks: hospitals, nursing homes, Social Security offices, and other places, and make that the scene of the action.
Thank you all so much. Before we turn to the audience to ask their questions, I want to give you all a minute to talk about the campaigns that your organizations are planning this August and how folks who are listening can participate. I also want to share a resource that will make that participation hopefully a little bit easier, that all of the organizations represented on this call have put together: Progressive Caucus Action Fund, People's Action, Indivisible, Social Security Works, and Popular Democracy in Action. We have just put together a toolkit titled "They Work for You: A People's Guide to Getting Help from the Hill." It walks through all of the ways that your members of Congress can help you tackle problems like navigating immigration applications, resolving issues with Social Security benefits, accessing veteran services, finding disaster relief assistance, and a lot more, including how to advocate effectively for the things that you care about. So if you have never reached out to a congressional office before, this guide is for you, and please keep an eye on that in your inbox if you registered for this event. So with that, let me turn back to our speakers and tell us about the campaigns that your organizations are planning this August and how folks listening in can participate. And please keep this to a minute if you can. And if folks don't catch any of the resources that our speakers mention, don't worry, we will send a follow-up email in the coming days to make sure you have them. Jen, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, great. So I talked a little bit about bird dogging. If you can get 15 people and a room in a church or a community center, or maybe even your house, and you want to invite in your neighbors, we'll do a training for you. We can do it on Zoom too, but we actually like to come out and meet all of you in person. So I will include in the follow-up how to get in touch with us. We have a national call. Every other Thursday night, starting with this Thursday, I will drop the link in, and you can find out issues that are happening right now about all of our campaigns, and you can meet other people from across the country who are trying to do the same work that you are to make sure that we hold electeds accountable for passing this bill. And also, under attack is really our humanity, our right to live. And so we've launched a campaign called Defend the 14th. To defend the 14th Amendment, because we know that they're coming after, they're deporting a bunch of people, a lot of people in our communities, without any due process. We know that they want to get rid of birthright citizenship, but it's really deeper than that. They actually want very, very, very few of us. They only want the people with helicopters to be the people who are making political decisions in this country. So they're talking about only them, only the uber rich are the ones who will be able to be citizens. So we have a campaign that we've launched. You can all be involved. It's bit.ly, bit.ly/defend-the-14th. We'll include that link in there too, and we would love to have you involved in it. Every Monday night, we are doing a nonviolent civil disobedience training at 6 p.m. I'll include the link for how you can join in that, because it's one of the tools in our advocacy toolbox. It's one of the lesser used, so we're a little bit less familiar with it. But right now, the ones that we more commonly use, the hammers and the screwdrivers, are not quite as effective as they once were. So we want to expand the realm of possibilities for people to know that they have this option of engaging in realm of tools that are along non-cooperation. So I hope to see you all on the national call on Thursday.
Anybody want to go next?
I can go three quick things. One is the most important work that we as a network are invested in is the work of our affiliates in our states. So you can go to peoplesaction.org and find the states and the organizations in every state that you can take action with in that state. Two, we have a calling volunteers who have weekly phone banks. If in your state you don't have a target, join our phone banks. We will train you and we will give you assignments for you to call. And third, the incredible groups that are part of this call, plus more, we'll be having a call on July 30th to go into details, to make meaning, to talk about what we did, but also to talk together and think together about the next 12 months and how we're collectivizing our activity across the country. So if you can, please join that call as well. It'll be on July 30th, and you'll get the information in the follow-up email on how you can join that call.
And I can hop in here to go next. At Social Security Works, we have a few things that we're going to be doing all August long. We're going to be doing stuff at hospitals, at nursing homes, but also we really are focused on this being the 90th anniversary of Social Security. For 90 years, this system has served the people, and the billionaires hate that because they don't make any money off of it. So they are doing everything they can to destroy it. And in all of my career working on this 15 years, I've never seen anything like this. The threats, the dangers, the damage that's been done. Nancy Altman, the president of Social Security Work, says in the 50 years that she's worked on this, it's the same. This is real. Our Social Security system is at risk. So on the week around the anniversary, starting on August 9th, going through that week, the anniversary is on the 14th. We're going to have a enormous amount of stuff to do, but then we're really focusing on August 16th, that Saturday, to try to get as many people holding events at your local Social Security office or wherever you think you'd make the best impact, holding the Republicans accountable for their attacks on Social Security and protecting our checks, protecting our Social Security. And that's what the campaign's called, Protect Our Checks, which is at protectourchecks.org. It's going to be, we're up at 18 currently. We're in 18 districts, but we hope with your help, with the people on this call and all of our partner organizations, that we'll have dozens and dozens and dozens of protests across the country with one voice saying, hands off our Social Security. We're here to protect our checks and fight back against these Republican attacks.
And then I'll just jump in to say that so Indivisible is really, really focused on building that 3.5% of the population as an opposition and really thinking about how those different pillars of society we can be kind of pushing our advocacy towards them. So that's why we've launched our Conditions for Courage campaign, which is just going to massively scale up the backlash against Trump and Republicans and grow the movement to fight against that authoritarian breakthrough. We're doing that through 1 Million Rising, which is our training series that will equip folks who join to go out in their communities and train others and build that opposition. We've already had one call in the series, but you can jump straight into our next session, which is on July 30th, which is going to go over how to train others and help bring them into the movement. And then after this session, we're asking folks to spend the first few weeks of August hosting their own community resistance gatherings to talk with and train the other people that they know. And then our third session is going to go over how you can create your own campaigns based on your personal pillar identities, the things that the organizations, institutions you belong to, and implement them locally. The call is also going to have a couple different ways for you to plug into national actions that are focused on some of those different pillars. And you can register for the call, catch up on last week's call, and learn more about 1 Million Rising at nokings.org/rise.
Thank you so much. Rachel, do you want to weigh in here as well for North Carolina?
Yes, for Action NC, On July 30th, we will be celebrating Medicaid expansion anniversary. So we will be putting together events with our other partners, as well as August 19th in Charlotte, we will be having a town hall with others as well. And you can check out on their website or social media, Action NC.
Thank you so much. We only have a few minutes left, so I'm going to do my best to combine as many questions I can into one and open it up to folks to respond. And seeing a few versions of this question from the audience, which is, we have a president who is going to lie, is lying about what is in the Republican mega law that just passed and what it will mean for people. And we have a Congress that seems to only respond to what that regime wants them to do. And so, in a situation like this, where lies are able to take hold and representatives seem less responsive to the will of the people, how do people adapt to that situation? And I'll let any of you take this.
I will go first and then try to go quickly. I am inspired by the folks in this group because I believe that we can only do that when we constantly expose the lies, tell the truth, build trust, and we're going to need a lot of activity because we will not let people forget. And the people that I work with, the incredible leaders across this country, have taken courageous and continue to take courageous activity to show up and to remind the rest of the country that this is not normal and that we will continue to fight. And as long as we continue to do that, we will see and we will get to the other side. And I have to believe that. And I believe that every day, because every day I see courageous people pushing back. And those are my people. And those are the people I want to grow. And as long as we continue to do that, we will get through this together.
You know, it's funny. I don't think that most of our members ever believe the president. And I actually think that even his supporters would say that, yeah, he stretches the truth, he lies. And also, the members of our affiliates are used to this. They are the children, many of them have stories about going to the March on Washington. They were part of the civil rights movement. And, the whole country lied to them then, to all of us then also. It's not new. It is just a reminder that it has always been the people organized who shine a light on the truth. And that's what, we've got to continue to do. We've got to organize our neighbors. The Indivisible project of reaching 1 million people is incredibly important. Like, we need to be able to bring more people into organized formation who are going to shine a light on the truth.
Yeah, just I think to jump in and say that, like, I think especially while we are seeing a Congress that will just like fall over themselves to, capitulate to Trump, that also I think what I've been saying about like these different pillars and how we can influence them, because billionaires and corporations aren't as responsive to, and they don't believe the lies. And if it hurts their bottom line, if like what Trump is doing hurts our faith communities, things like that, they're gonna push back, and Trump needs them to be on his side. And so the more that we get them to defect, the more that we hurt the administration, the more that we can push back against these lies, because it requires all of them upholding the lies and Trump and the Republicans for it to continue to work. And so the more that we push on those pillars, use our identities in all of these different ways to push them to be defecting against the administration, I think the better we are for countering all of those lies.
And I'd maybe just say this isn't new. I mean, there's a fairy tale about this. The emperor's new clothes, right? Like, this goes way back. People in power have lied forever to maintain their power, and the lies work. And they have a power as long as people are believing them. And some people aren't searching for the truth. But if we keep raising the truth up so that they can't avoid it, then people will see it. And you never know what is going to break through. For example, people have been telling me, they're like, oh, well, the President Trump says he's not going to cut Medicaid. He said that. And I am like, he also said he was going to release the Epstein files. He lied on both those accounts. And for whatever reason right now, that is breaking through in a way that Other lies have not. And so we just have to be incredibly vigilant and just keep telling the truth over and over again and raising our voices. And it's not as much about, we should try new things, but we also know what does work is solidarity. So not getting disheartened that the truth isn't breaking through right away, recognizing that things take time. That's why advertising is so annoying. They know, corporations know, they just have to repeat the same thing over and over and over again in order to break through. And we need to do the same thing. We need to tell the same story. They stole healthcare from 15 million Americans to give trillions in tax handouts to a handful of billionaires in this country. And if we do, no amount of dodging is going to get around what they actually have done.
What a great place to end it. We are right at the 2 o'clock hour on the East Coast. So thank you all so, so much for your incredible insights. It has been so uplifting to hear from all of you. And thank you to our audience for staying tuned. If you are interested in any of the campaigns or resources that folks on this call mentioned, please keep an eye on your inbox. We are going to be sharing links to those resources as well as a captioned recording of this briefing in the coming days. Thank you all again for being with us. Hope everybody is fired up and gets out there in August, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks, everybody.